The entry barrier for investing has never, ever, ever been this good. So many people are intimidated about investing because they understand investing the old way, okay? And it's very, 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 very intimidating if you do it the old way. Let me show you the old way, okay? Let's talk the 90s, okay? People didn't have to worry about it because there were pensions and then 401ks, and 401ks destroyed it. And you know what? Look at your friends and family. Most of them will never retire because of management fees, and they don't know anything about it. You do. They don't. But here's the thing. Back in the 90s, you wanted to make a trade. You picked up the phone, and you used to call your broker. The guy's sitting at a desk right here. Back then, there was a lot of misogyny, so he was probably, getting head from his secretary who was a single mom hoping just to fucking keep her job. And he's got a phone, okay? And you say to him, hey, man, I want to buy shares of Microsoft. And he goes, hold on. Can you stop? Yeah. Okay, how much money do you want to spend? $1,000. Okay, so now he calls the clearinghouse or, the firm, and he calls Wall Street, like in the movies. He says, hey, my client wants to buy $1,000 of Microsoft. What price will you give it to him? Well, back then you got fucked because everyone was taking a piece of the pie. So if something cost $100 per share, you were probably paying $120 for the share by the time it was over. Maybe $110, I don't know, fucking 10%, or let's say 5% just for shits and giggles. Because everyone was getting a piece of that pie. And this guy's keeping $3 in commission. All right? And so he calls the guy and says, how much can you do it? He says, yeah, we'll sell him shares at whatever. Okay, cool. Let me get back to him. He calls back, tells him, okay, I got your thing. And that's if he did it. Most of the time, they didn't even call back. They would just call back and say, yeah, it's done. Okay? And you wouldn't know the difference. So instead of getting 10 shares at $100, the guy got like 9 shares. And then the rest was left in a cash account. And that shit took all day. That's how you did it. If it was after hours or you were on the West Coast or if it was, whatever, it was a lot more difficult. Then it got a little bit easier with the internet. So fast forward 10 years, now you could do it yourself at your desk, right? That looks like a toilet, but whatever. And now you could do it on your big ass computer, okay? But you had to go in and pay a shitload. So if you wanted to make a trade, you had to pay a commission. So you go in and you say, I want to buy $1,000 in Microsoft, but they're going to charge you $10 per trade. So you're down 1% immediately per trade. And that's why you had to make big purchases. You couldn't dollar cost average small. I'm getting to where we're getting at right now. You couldn't do small because you're losing 10%. If you only bought $100 worth, you lost 10% immediately when you took the trade. So you can't dollar cost average. It's not possible to dollar cost average. It costs too much money to dollar cost average. So you had to just fucking big purchases, which sucked because what if the market's on the way down and instead of buying little bits on the way down, you have to buy right there. So there you go. Now, everyone's got it in their fucking pockets, their little fucking fedoras on, and their little katanas, and their fucking Dogecoin to the moon shit, okay? And they've made it to where it's insanely easy to do it. Now, the brokerages there's so many, and there's so much competition, and that's why I love competition in a free market. Well, free market, let's not talk about colleges, but there's so much competition that they're all like, fuck, these guys are going free. Everybody's got to go free. So now you can now take your $18 you have left over from your, weekly job at fucking, I don't know, Petco or wherever you work. And you can buy. And it's 0% commission on shares. So now you get to put your money right in. And then they upped the game. And they said, you know what? We're going to make it even easier. We're going to allow you to buy fractional shares. So now, when they first went to 0%, everybody was buying the fucking penny stocks because they're like, well, I got to make as much money as I can because I don't have enough to buy a share of Microsoft or Apple or Google. But now you have fractional shares. So you can set up a reoccurring purchase of anything you want at fucking $10 a day. $10 a day seems like nothing, but that shit adds up quick. And if you're buying on the way down and you're buying little bits all the way down, when that shit does reverse in a year or 2 or 3 years, you're going to be so fucking fat on profit, it's going to be ridiculous. Most of you guys will sell the moment it's green because you're like, oh, I can't deal with this market anymore. It's finally green. I'm taking my profits and running. And then the goddamn 10-year bull run happens and you fucking hate yourself. Welcome to everybody in 2009, 2010, 2011. And that's why when I say dollar cost average, I mean Set that shit up in small chunks all the way down. Because if you buy a big chunk here and the market keeps going down, then you're like, I don't have any more money to keep buying the dips. I finally have more money. Oh, it's already up. Nah, fuck all that. Little bits. Little bits. Just fucking forget about it. Set up a reoccurring buy in your Robinhood account of VU at $20 a day or $10 a day and fucking forget that shit because you've been buying all the way down. And you'll keep buying on the way up too. But all this shit's going to be profit. But the entry barrier for investing has never been easier. And you have to invest. I told you this. I like I said, Hassan and I had a little talk, just a quick talk at the massage table, not the table, but the massage chairs, at thing, and we were just kind of bullshitting or whatever. And I said, is it true you don't invest? And he goes, no. And I go, but you bought a house, right? He goes, yeah. I said, so you do invest. You invested in real estate, so you're building equity. And he goes, the only thing I invest in is back into my business. And I was like, what if the business dries up, right? Like, where is, like, are you gonna, like, whatever, you know? But then his security guy, because he got his own security guy. I was provided some. I didn't have him because I was like, fuck off. But he had his own security guy. And his security guy was like talking to me. He saw stock. He's like, yeah, it's fucking gambling. I'm like, no, it is. Trading is. I said, but investing's not. And he's like, no, it's not. He's like, fuck, the market always goes up. And I was like, yeah. So, and then I ended up having a whole fucking conversation with his security guard about getting his 401k and shit together, which was funny. But what I told the guy and him is I said, the unfortunate thing is, and I wish we could change it. Maybe one day we will. But the only fucking chance that 90% of people have of ever having a life that they don't, a point in their life where they don't have to work for someone else and live in a cycle is to invest. It's the only chance. It's the only chance. You don't have a choice. There's no such thing as I'm not going to take the risk of investing in a home, real estate, or the market, and I'll just save my money and retire one day. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Because the truth is, for 90% of people and 99% of people in the entire world, if you don't invest your money, you'll be a slave forever. It's the only chance you have. And even if it doesn't make you a millionaire, I know there's some people out there that DM me all the time and they say, Stocky, I get depressed when you're talking about this because you say I have to have, $2 million at this level to be able to live comfortably and be retired. I know I'll never get there. Well, first of all, that's 2 million minus, that's not in, if you buy a home and you build equity in it, you have more money. If you don't have debt, if you have different types of things, if you can move to a low cost country and live off that money, you can 2 million here is like 1 million in, Thailand or something, whatever. You don't have to have that. But more importantly, stop thinking about retirement. Retirement is a death sentence, okay? Think about working for yourself, working for what you want to do. But also, this is intimidating. I don't like using these numbers because it's intimidating. Even if you never get to 2 million, I don't want you to think, well, I'm not going to invest because I'll never get to that number. Let me tell you something. You're 60 years old and it's going to happen. We're all going to get there. We're all going to get old. We're all going to die. Sorry, it's the truth, okay? I'm not here to fucking bullshit you. But let me tell you something. Even if you never get to 2 million, if you start investing now, let's say you're $6K a year in your IRA, you put $4K in your 401k and $1,000 with match in your HSA, right? That's $11K a year. 30 years, compounding, let's call it whatever. If you keep that for 30 years in cash, you'll have $330,000 minus inflation. But if you put that compounding and you're getting your fucking tax benefits and you're getting your dividends and you're getting your employer match and everything like that, and you compound that even at only 7% a year, that right there, it may not be 2 million, but I'd rather be 60 years old with 1.62 million than 330,000. Even if you bring this down to 1.05 million, which would you rather be at?